dichotomous key. You follow these 6 steps. These are your 6 steps to glory. Okay? Step 1 is to establish your data set. And that just means the stuff you're going to identify, the objects you're going to identify. That's it. Okay? So if you wanted to identify your 15 favorite t-shirts, that would be your data set. If you wanted to identify your 20 favorite music groups, that would be your data set. Whatever you choose, that's your data set. Now sometimes it is given to you. Sometimes you get to choose yourself. It all just depends. Number 2 then is to create a descriptive title. And a lot of people get these two mixed up. They go, oh, I do the title first and then my data set. No, you can't write a title for something you don't know what it is yet. So you have to have what you're identifying first, then you can create the title. Then you start by separating all of the items into 2 groups based on some characteristic. And that's called your first branch. Then you do probably the step that takes you the longest, and that's step 4, mapping all of the items. After you're done mapping, you do step 5, and I have a star next to it because this is the spot where if you're going to mess up, this is where it usually happens. Okay? Once you're done mapping, you then number your levels and create your written key. And the written key is what you just saw on the PowerPoint. And then finally, you have to check for accuracy, which is a very, very important aspect in science. It brings in that verifiability and that repeatability. Okay? So make sure you have these 6 steps written down. You will need these. They are important. Once you have those 6 steps, then you need to put your pencil down, because what I find is that if you're writing along with me, you miss stuff. And then you need to find a place down front so that you are able to see the floor. So you can come sit on the floor, you can come fill in the front row, you can bring a chair around to the front, but you need to specifically be able to see right here. And you need to leave this space open so that I can be here. So, once you have those 6 steps down, come on down. All right, so can you guys see the floor? You have to actually be able to see the floor. Okay, and while Luke is lining them up, can you guys please count them? We need to know how many there are. Why are you using mine?
Because it doesn't smell.
Okay, thanks. That's a good thing. Okay, how many shoes are there? 12. Okay, so this is going to become important. Please remember, back of your heads, that there were 12 shoes to start with. So we've now just done step 1. We've established our data set. This is our data set. There are 12 within it. So what's the next step in creating a dichotomous key?
Create and describe your title.
Create a descriptive title.
Yes.
So what would be a descriptive title to specifically tell us what this key is going to be about?
Shoe size.
What types of shoes?
The right foot shoe.
I'm fine. Right shoes, is that descriptive enough?
No.
No.
Size.
Keep going.
Of people.
I don't know, like, are you like what type? What do you like?
Of people of agriculture science.
Okay, people.
Okay, is that descriptive enough? There we go. Because remember, block 1 already did this, so they have a key. If we try to use their key for your shoes, that's not accurate because you're a different group of people. So now we've got steps 1 and 2 down. Step 3 is to separate items into 2 groups. This is your first branch. So, first branch. So we have to pick something that would separate those shoes into 2 groups. So tell me what you want to do.
Size.
Dark colors and light colors. Okay, that's an option. Boy and girl is one way. However, some people could look at shoes and not be able to tell the difference. So it has to be something that is completely obvious. So dark and light would be one. What else?
Largest and smallest.
Well,
Small
but it
and
has to
large.
be two groups. And how do you define large and small?
Shoe size.
Okay, but remember that boys' sizes and girls' sizes are slightly different. Size 10 and up? Are all sizes listed on the shoe?
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact that my shoe size is not
I think we
listed in
should
my
stick
shoe
to car, because that's hard to decide. That's like.
Yeah, and this is a good point, because it can be difficult to use some characteristics. You have to make sure that anybody could see it. Remember from yesterday, in that description, it has to be something that anybody could identify. So do you want to go with light and dark shoes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should get steps, Joel. This feels like Star Wars.
Okay, so you need to separate them into light shoes and dark shoes. Now we have two groups. Okay. Yeah, make sure they're two easily seen groups. Okay, so good. All the dark shoes are on that side, the light shoes are on this side. Notice that they're not in even groups. They don't have to be. Some people have the misconception that we have to equally distribute them. You don't. You pick a physical characteristic and you go with it. Now, whenever I do dichotomous keys, I like to always work on my branching from the right and then move over. If you do it differently, that's okay. But since I'm doing the example, we're going to do it my way. So we're going to start with the light shoes. There are 3 of them. So how would you separate those into 2 groups?
Converse and Vans.
Go ahead, she raised her hand. Converse and Vans.
Only she
Okay.
heard someone said that.
What's Converse?
Okay, so if it's Converse, it's these 2?
Yeah.
And if it's Vans, it's this one. Okay, so we've got the Vans down to just one person. Whose is it? It's me. So it belongs to Lexi S. So we've now identified, right off the bat, our first shoe. You can give her her shoe back.
It's not
Okay, and now we have to separate out these 2 Converses.
That's so. Wait, I don't know whose other shoe that is, but like you could do like low Converse and then you could do high.
Mhm. I would say that works. You can see that one has a higher ankle than the other, so high top and, so we're gonna go high top and we're gonna actually write not high top.
Not
So if it's a high top, it belongs to Julia. And if it's not a high top, it belongs to, okay. All right, so we started out in the baby pool and did one side. Easy, right?
Yeah.
You just did one branch. Well, now we're gonna come over to this side, which is a little bit more involved. All right, so now we've got to take this mass of shoes and separate them into 2 groups. So what
High
would you do?
top and low top.
Black. Yeah.
So you could do high top and low top, you could do black and not black,
like casual and athletic.
casual and athletic. I heard someone say laces and no laces.
Yeah, but there's only one. Three.
Yeah, doesn't matter, remember? Doesn't matter how the numbers go.
Oh,
Sneakers and not sneakers. These are all good options. What are we gonna go with?
High top or no top?
High top or low top?
Mm-hmm.
There's only 2 that are high top.
Yeah,
wait, I went to one with the boot.
yeah, I don't know if you'd call it Buddha.
Oh no, you should do like the black and like. Yeah.
Black and not black.
Because like
Okay.
they're all
Then
like
how do you
different.
classify this one?
With red differences.
But remember, only two groups.
Black and not black. Like if it has
Well done.
I told you that step 4 would take the longest amount of time, and it did. So some of the things to review. Make sure that it's an attribute that anybody could get. So using things like small and large is not specific enough. Male and female is not always identifiable. You have to use things that people could figure out and people could understand. Just like in the activity yesterday, where you struggled with those definitions, that's why, because they have to be specific. So now that we're done mapping, now we move on to numbering the levels and creating the written key. And this is where most people struggle if they're going to struggle. Okay, so let me show you how it's done. You have to number the levels so that you can create the written key just like you saw in the PowerPoint. You should always start at the top and then you move down in your levels. One other note, you cannot copy numbers. So once you've used the number 1, you cannot use it again. And there were 12 in your set. So we're going to start at the very top where it says dark shoe and light shoe. And that's your level 1. I connect them with a line so that you can see that they are the same level. Now once again, it's a preference thing, but I like to move off to the right and then go from there. So I'm going to come over to this side. I'm going to label this level 2, and then this will be level
3.
Good. So I reach the bottom, there's no other levels here, so I need to come back over to this side, find the next level that's not numbered, which would be this one. And that would be level number
4.
4. And I'm going to go down this side because once again I like to go to the right first. So we've got level 5, and then 6. I'll come back up here and this is level, good, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then over here is 11. Now, this is a great way to check yourself. How many were in our original data set? And what number level did we end at?
11.
That's not an accident. You will always end up, and this is one to, this is one to note, you will end up with always one level less than what's in your data set. Always. If you had 4 items, you end up with 3 levels. If you had 2,546,000, you end up with 2,545,999. It's always one less. It does not matter how many are in your data set, it's always one less.
Wait, so like the scoring samples or those, like would that be considered dichotomous key?
It was. Very good. It was. So the question is, why do you end up with one less level? Because all 12 items are there. You can count. I underlined them. Go ahead.
Because you don't count the title?
No, that's not it. Look, there's all 12 items. Count them up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Why do we have one less level?
Because once you get to your last level or whatever, you're not comparing the one more with anything else. So
That's exactly it. You nailed it. So if you notice level 11, in level 11 we identified the last 2 things together. So you don't need another level. So that's one quick way to check yourself whenever you're doing this. Did I end up with one level less than in my data set? If I did, I probably got it right. So from there, you numbered your levels. Now you just have to create your written key. So you just follow your numbers. 1, 1. So 1 said dark shoe, light shoe, and then you write directions. So if it was a dark shoe, I go then to level 4. If it's a light shoe, I go to 2. So you just look down. Then I write number 2. If it's a Converse, I go to 3. If it's not I'm sorry, we wrote the word vans. If it's a vans, I go to, yeah, so we've now identified one of them. So instead of writing go to, you simply write the name of the person or the object that has been identified, and make sure you do something to, make it obvious there. Does that make sense? Okay.